Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar. Look at the weather warnings. We still got a yellow rain warning issued for the rest of today, as we have got some very heavy rain in northern regions. We'll then look at the UKV, look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days. It is going to remain fairly cool and fairly unsettled, with more heavier batches of rain coming for the middle of this upcoming working week. And we'll finish by having a look at the longer range, where still it is looking fairly unsettled into the rest of July and even into the start of August. Some glimmers of hope of perhaps some higher pressure as we head into August, but nothing too significant at this stage. Of course, we saw a very hot run from the GFS 6 o'clock run yesterday, not showing that in the 6 o'clock run today, but still some ensemble members showing something a little bit warmer in the longer term. So perhaps signs that perhaps it could warm up a bit in August, but still have the fairly unsettled pattern. So we will just have to see, but we'll see what the models are showing in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, which do like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well. The link's in the description. Now, if you look on the live radar, we've got another pretty unsettled day in many regions. We saw this big low pressure system move in, chucking a lot of rain for England and Wales. The heaviest rain further southwards has cleared through the early hours of the morning, and has left behind sunshine and showers, and some of these are heavy, but nothing too substantial. Further northwards, we see the northern extent of this weather front getting wrapped around the centre of the low and sort of pivoting and stalling here, and it is now starting to sink southwards, having slowly edged northwards throughout the morning. It is now sinking southwards again, but the centre of the low is now clearing out to the North Sea. So what this means is this weather front is losing its energy and slowly sipping southwards. This is what we're seeing on the latest runs and what we are seeing on the live radar. The intensity of this rainfall was much higher only a few hours ago, and it's now starting to sink southwards, and it should slowly break apart, but the thicker cloud and patches of rain will linger all the way probably around till around the early hours of tomorrow, as it does slowly head away. So for the cricket up in Manchester, it isn't looking great. Yes, there's a big wall of rain to the north that is heading southwards. It will lose its intensity through the rest of the afternoon, but at the moment it's not looking likely to lose enough intensity that there'll be more than, the odd half an hour of drier periods. And even here we've got a heavier batch of rain ahead of the main weather front, now spreading southwards. So now, yes, it's not looking great. To the north of the weather front, not too bad. These regions actually have seen very minimal rainfall compared to most of the southern and western regions. So now if we do have a look at the temperatures today, you can see it's pretty abysmal under that heavier rain in the north. But to the south, we are in a bit of a humid air mass that's fueling the rain, or has been fueling the rain. So further southwards, temperatures actually getting into the low 20s, maybe 23 or 24 degrees in a few spots. But of course, only really where we do avoid those showers. Now, if you put on the past 24-hour precipitation, we'll be able to see that a lot of heavy rain has fallen, especially in those northern regions, and you can see why there has been a yellow warning issued for many parts of northern England. Actually surprised to not see a yellow warning issued for Northern Ireland at the moment, so we are seeing some very heavy rain move through there, but the rain has now subsided in most areas, maybe just lingering in the far east, along with the weather front we're seeing further northwards. We see all of England, Wales, Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland have seen very heavy rain over the past 24 to 48 hours, but Scotland are really avoiding it. The far south seeing some heavy rain, but most of central, northern, eastern and northwestern Scotland not seeing much at all. A big contrast, just showing you how far southwards the jet stream is at the moment. Now, if you look at the weather warnings, you can see we have got a weather warning right now for northern areas. Again, lasting until midnight tonight. Again, I do think the heaviest rain is now subsiding, but still will be some lingering rain around. Still some heavier pulses, but that sort of persistent heavy rain is now moving away, and we could still see some more rainfall as we head through the rest of the evening. Again, totals could get as high as 50 to 70 millimetres in a few spots. Now, if you look at the UKV, you can see that weather front right now through the lunchtime period, slowly losing its intensity as it heads southwards. Could intensify in the far west of the weather front through parts of Wales, but most regions it's sort of fizzling away and slowly heading southwards before completely disintegrating through the early hours of the morning. So it could be a slight resurgence in intensity late this evening. But the overall size of the weather front really disintegrating for what it was this morning. So it could be a bit of play at Old Trafford if there is some luck. But from the looks of this, the weather front is just going to about hold on to its intensity. A few gaps here or there, but nothing big enough really to have more than maybe half an hour away from any rainfall. And again, slipping southwards, giving some more persistent rain in places through tomorrow morning. Maybe even some heavy thundery showers in the far southeast around that 10, 11 a.m. point. Into tomorrow's much better day. Again, mostly dry with a few patches of sunshine and a few areas of showers as well. But pretty decent really. Into Tuesday, similar picture, more showers around, but generally still fairly dry and fairly bright in places. Into Wednesday, another big weather front moving in. So Wednesday, a washout in the far west, but the far east could just about hold on to dry weather till the evening where heavy rain spreads through. And then into Thursday morning, most of it should clear, but we should still see some lingering cloud and drizzly patches, especially over higher ground, but not exclusively. And by the late afternoon, could clear up to something a little bit brighter with a few showers around. And that is, as we head into Friday, a similar pattern will move on. So yes, will be some dry spells over the next couple of days and some brighter spells through this upcoming working week, but definitely looking likely, especially as we head into Wednesday, it's going to be very heavy rainfall for the west through the morning and afternoon, and for the east through the latter parts of the afternoon and overnight. Another batch of probably an inch of rain for many areas. The upper air temperatures aren't anything too cool actually over the next couple of days, with upper air temperatures around average for the time of year, but they will turn cooler as we head through Monday into Tuesday as we see a northerly flow move in, getting, well, a good few degrees below average. As we head into Wednesday, eventually the weather front arrives getting so much milder air, again fueling that rainfall for again pushing away through Friday, so oscillating air masses over the next few days. The max temperatures are perhaps as best as 22 or 23 in the far southeast today, but further northwards under the rain, struggling around the low teens, but quite a humid feel with that warmer air mass. Into Monday, again, could see 20 degrees at best, but cooler air is spreading in, so even though it is a bit brighter, less showers and less cloud, those temperatures actually won't be all too great. Again, high teens at best for some. Into Tuesday, again, could be a bit warm in places, 20, 21, but nothing great. Again, high teens for most. Wednesday, pretty similar, but further westwards, struggling around mid-teens with that heavy rainfall moving in. The far east could just about get to 21 to maybe 23. And then finally into Thursday, again, could see 23, 24, so improvement as we do see a bit of a warmer air mass, but again, nothing spectacular at all with many areas still in the teens. A really poor July compared to what we have had over the last few years. At the moment, the CET is actually pretty much bang on average, really being held up by warm nights. The daytime highs have been very poor so far. It'll be very interesting to see how close we are to the mean CET come the 31st of July. I do think there is a real possibility that it could just about nudge below average. As we do have a number of cooler days coming up, and it doesn't look like there's going to be much in a rebound of those upper air temperatures before month's end. Now, if you look at the longer range, we'll be able to see that. So you see the low pressure system moving away to our east at the moment, and generally staying very unsettled, quite stormy as we head into the middle of the week. More big patches of rainfall with big, deep lows potentially moving in. Into longer term, low pressure still looks likely to come in off the Atlantic into the start of August, but could see brief ridges of high pressure at times, but still low pressure after low pressure coming in. Yes, right at the end of range, there is a high pressure system building in, but unfortunately it builds into quite cold air for the time of year, well below average. You can see that on the temperature deviation. Plenty of blues around, so yes, it would be drier. Temperatures probably would get into the 20s, but really not what you'd expect for a summer high pressure system with all the hot air shoved to our south. So GFS definitely still improving at 384 hours, but not got that heat that it did yesterday. Still no sign of any major improvement in the foreseeable future over the next sort of 7 to 10 days. The GEM, pretty similar, low pressure rumbling off the Atlantic and continuing to stay very unsettled next week. There is a very deep low that is trying to move in the latter parts of this upcoming working week, but it really does disintegrate as it heads towards the UK. We'll have to keep a very close eye on those isobars. It is fairly deep, down towards 990 millibars, perhaps towards the centre, but the isobars aren't too tight, so we'll have to see the wind speeds for that. as we head into next weekend, and then just more lows moving in all the way to day 10. Again, no signs of any improvement. The upper air temperatures are fairly poor, and low pressure moving in, giving us plenty of rainfall. And you can see how we're sort of on line from above average and below average, with those colliding air masses fueling those weather fronts. ECMWF, very similar. Low pressure moving in off the Atlantic, and that fairly deep low pressure system moving in towards the end of this upcoming working week, but really does lose its intensity through the weekends. So again, not showing anything too out of the ordinary towards next weekend in terms of deep lows, but it could be quite strong if these models are out by a little bit and it does maintain its strength. All the way to day 10, signs of the wind direction subtly changing more to a southwesterly, so more of hot air moving in. This would bring actually really quite warm upper air temperatures around 6 to 8 degrees above average, maybe nudging towards 10 degrees above average. And you can see the 50-degree isotherm is in, and you can look at the 2 meter temperatures, and midday, we're getting towards the mid-20s, but unfortunately it's nothing to write home about because it is associated with tight isobars, big low pressure system, so wind gusts will be quite strong, and there's going to be plenty of heavy showers around. So yes, we'll be turning warmer from this ECMWF run, but would stay unsettled, would stay with plenty of showers. So an improvement in the temperatures, but not all too much on the unsettled sort of pattern. So all 3 runs showing perhaps signs of a little bit of improvement in their own ways, but nothing really too consistent and nothing really to write home about at all. The next at least 7 days is looking still unsettled and fairly cold. We can see that from the ensembles. These latest GFS ensembles, just refresh this briefly as it is updating as I'm recording this, and you can see over the next sort of 10 days or so, all the way into early August, we pretty much nudge above average for a day or two, around the 28th, 29th, and this really is only corresponding with a weather front, so will be corresponding with cloud and rain, so it won't really reflect all too well at the surface. Into the extended range, definitely more runs starting to appear around average and still some going quite hot, but really majority are around average, or at least the ensemble mean is around average, so no huge signs of any major change at this stage, and still quite a large amount of precipitation. And again, this is London, furthest away from the weather fronts in general, so we're always going to be on the lower end of the precipitation. Look at Glasgow, for example, much higher precipitation into the longer term. 2 meter temperatures, pretty poor, low 20s at best, and some days under persistent rainfall. Could really struggle around the high teens, not good at all. Even tomorrow, struggling around the sort of 17, 18 degrees with a bit of lingering cloud and showers, and of course that colder air coming in from the north, and the same as we head into Wednesday, Thursday. You can see again, pretty poor conditions. So yeah, not looking great. Yes, some brief signs of something a bit warmer in the longer term, but really only towards average. And it's not just the GFS, the ECMWF is very similar. The next week to 10 days, really only above average when we have a weather front moving in with a warmer sector. Yes, around the first few days of August, could go slightly above average from the ensembles, with some very warm runs appearing, but equally some colder runs appearing as well, and the precipitation signal actually does increase, so still not looking good. So if you are bored of this pretty drab, horrible cold conditions like I am as well, it doesn't look good. It looks like it will continue. Those warm, dry days that we were having consistently back in June do feel like a thing of the past, and do feel like it was an eternity ago, and unfortunately it doesn't look likely to return anytime soon. Hopefully August does improve, because before you know it, we'll be into September, October time. The sun strength will be diminishing. It'll be harder and harder to get anything above 20 degrees, and things will be on the downward spiral towards winter time, where it will be at best mid-teens. So yes, not great. Hopefully we do see at least another warmer, drier spell in the next few weeks. The one thing we always have to remember is during the summer months, we don't actually need warm air to feel warm out there. We just need some drier, sunnier weather. So even like that GFS run, even if we did see some cold upper air temperatures under a strong area of high pressure, the temperatures would still probably just about get into the low to mid-20s, and we would probably feel very warm because of the time of year and the sun strength. So hopefully we can just see something at least like that into August, but you never know. we will have to wait and see. But hopefully the models will improve in the next few days, as I'm getting a bit sick of all this unsettled weather. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Make sure you stay safe over the next few days with all that rainfall around. Hopefully, if you have got plans this week, they do coincide with some of the drier spells. But of course, I'll see you again for another video soon.